Hello, everybody. Alex here from Immich team, and today we have our first intern that be with us this summer, Brandon.
Hello there.
Um, Brandon is our first official Immich intern from FUTO, and we are really grateful to have Brandon to be on board with us this summer. So today we just talk a little bit about his experience working with Immich team and how it is to work, intern on a fully remote team, and going over like some of the features that he built and the challenges that come with it. So, yeah, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself? Like, where are you from? What school are you going to, etc.
Yeah, so I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where I live, but I go to school at Texas A&M University, about an hour and a half away from the FUTO office, and that's how I actually got the job here. Is they were at one of my career fairs that I attended. I do a lot of programming in my free time. I'm also into robotics, RC airplanes, biking. I ride a one wheel. So got a bunch of different hobbies that are all like kind of touching on the Venn diagram, but big spread of different skills and hobbies.
I can attest that to be a good engineer, you have to be touch like most of the aspect of the pipeline so that you gain experience. And so in order to build a product, I think it's really helpful to have the insight into multiple part of the process. So, Brandon, why do you decide to join the Immich team?
I wanted to join the Immich team because it was a big project, and I wanted to grow my skills in web development. Surprisingly, because I haven't had a bunch of experience doing like straight web and mobile development. I had written my own app previously to working on Immich, but it was definitely I'm learning this as I go instead of learning how it's actually done. So I've learned a ton of stuff from working on the mobile app and our web front end as well. So learned a lot of like how to keep it organized and from spiraling out of control, and some nicer tooling to use hopefully in the future on some of my projects.
What is your experience working with the Immich team? Just say on the team coherent or team relationship, team dynamic in general. How is it like during your internship?
Yeah, so this is my first experience working on a fully remote team. I met Alex for my first week in person, but quickly after that, I was completely on my own at the office, the only person from Immich here. But it was a adjustment of learning to ask for help over channels. I don't really like to. I feel like I'm bothering people when I'm messaging them, but I've really come to understand that if I need to ask for help, just ask for it in our Discord that we have to communicate with each other. And usually there's someone on there to give me answers on stuff instead of me blindly guessing or running into walls every which way. This is also my first time like pair programming. Previously, I would just like, hey, what do I need to do here? And I'd be given pointers, but this is the first time it's like having someone like co-pilot and person in the seat next to you or on a Discord call or something like that, working with you to build out a feature or work through some weird bug that I was facing. So working with a remote team was a lot of learning to ask for help, even though it felt like I was bugging someone, but it was more just like it's a replacement for just leaning over the desk next to you and asking for help or a single question or something like that.
Definitely. I think one thing about the fully remote team is that usually the context of the conversation is lost. So having a very proactive communication style, it helps a lot in both team communication and help avoiding misunderstanding and communicate. I think like engineer, when we come to talking to a technical topics, usually it can be quite frank and the context would lost. It depends on how you feel at that time. You might perceive it as really harsh or really, like not kind, but it might be just something that you think, but not actually how it is. So to be proactive in, asking for help in a different way rather than text, it would help with binding the team better, help with the team understand each other better.
Yeah,
So,
I learned to enjoy like having the voice calls with you guys, because like there's only so much information that you can communicate across text, and also like the bandwidth of it. Like you can't it takes time to type things and send it. But being in a call and working through a problem over voice is like being in the office with someone. So I originally felt like I was like eating up time in your day or Jason or Zach's day, but it's it was better than trying to go back and forth over text. It was much more efficient, and got to know you guys a lot better.
Yeah. So why don't you go over some of the project that you work on during your internship? You've been a really great helper for the team since the first week. You hammer out like features after features and everything that we asked for help. You was like on top of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's show the world what you do.
Yeah, so the first feature that I worked on was adding Google Cast to both our web front end and our mobile apps. Etnoy on our Discord, he started out with a proof of concept, and that was a couple months previous to this, and some of the stuff on the web had changed to new design patterns. So I kind of took a look at his code and took some of the principles that he used there and migrated them to our new design standards and implementations. And then it took a lot of work to get everything nice and stable and catch all the little edge cases. But we got, I think the web front end had a working implementation by the end of the week of my first week, which was really cool to see. And then quickly after that, I worked on the mobile app, which was much harder because the mobile app is like, you don't have the browser to handle all the casting implementation for you. So you're sending all the raw messages to like, hey, open the viewing app and then look at this specific asset. And we also had to handle like disconnecting from a device and connecting from a device reliably. And you found a lot of bugs after the first look at it that we had to work through over a voice call. So that was a good experience to work through the low-level protocol of Google Cast and finding all the pitfalls that you got to look out for and catch in your code.
And I think in the future we hope to have also the FCast, the FUTO protocol to be integrated, and hopefully you can also help with that piece of implementation, since you have experience with these works. I think it will be great for you to continue that work.
Yeah, it'll be definitely really nice to implement Google Cast as well as FCast in the future. To let people use that. So
yeah, I think a lot of users enjoying those features. Things it's make it easier to share their memory with the family on the bigger screen.
It's definitely better than like airplaying just like a view of the app on the TV. It takes up the full screen now. And I know my grandparents who are getting a image server soon. They love to put it up on their TV because they go on vacations all the time, and so every time we come over, it's like whatever their latest vacation was, they go through and tell us all the fun stories that they had during that time. So that'll be a really good feature for them to use once I get it set up for them. So the next feature that I worked on was mobile widgets on both Android and iOS, and I think this was one of the most requested, upvoted features on our discussion board. And so I worked on iOS first because that's what I had the most experience in. And I had working widgets by, once again, the end of the week. It was about 5 days of working through all the little edge cases and writing API wrappers inside of Swift. And so we got iOS widgets pushed out, and everyone seems to love them. And of course, there were some pitfalls with the home screen customization that Swift just doesn't warn you about. So whenever someone had a tinted home screen, it was just a white box instead of actually showing the image. So I had to work through that. But then I moved on to Android widgets, which was way harder. I don't know if it was way harder or lack of experience, or I was just doing something wrong, but it took 4 days to get a proof of concept working on the Android widgets, and then a lot longer after that. I think I probably spent 2 or 3 weeks on this total, just getting Android widgets working. So a lot of frustration at Android Studio breaking my projects sometimes. I think my Gradle cache died at one point, and I deleted the folder, and now the app doesn't compile. And you're like, what? Deleting this folder that's not in, that's being ignored from the repository just breaks everything. So a lot of working through stuff like that and finding all these little edge cases that an experienced Android developer would probably know about, but this is my first time writing Kotlin even. So it was like finding all the different syntax differences between Swift and TypeScript and Dart and Kotlin. So
yeah, I think it's the nature of mobile development is normally like technically more challenge because of different build pipeline, different type of build program that can be in your projects. Like in Android, you have Gradle, you have Maven, etc. So, and as the ecosystem evolve, those things also change, and yeah, it definitely, I find it more challenging than developing features for the web. The web had different challenge, but at least the ecosystem is somewhat a little bit simpler.
Yeah.
Right, and you have more people with experience in the web versus than on the mobile side.
I feel like with these cross-platform libraries, it's like you start to hit the platform differences like maybe 50% of the way into the project, whereas like web, you start to hit the browser differences maybe 90% of the way. So this like one very tiny edge case doesn't work on Firefox, for example, or Safari, and you got to fix that. Whereas on mobile, it's like, okay, the iOS just behaves completely differently in this one specific case that is like a pretty common way. So like saving an image to the phone just like crashes sometimes on iOS without an error trace or anything like that. So the web is much more consistent, except for that like last 10% of differences that you got to work through when you're almost done with the project.
Yeah, well, but like from the time I started with the cross-platform development, maybe like 7 years ago or so, I think it has improved a lot. So in the future, I think that it would get easier and easier, and as the tooling evolved and things get better, it would help us developing things easier, and the DevX is definitely improving.
Yeah. The my personal app that I wrote is in React Native, and it's not enjoyable to write in, so I'm glad we aren't using that. And Flutter has its own host of problems, but it's much greener on the Flutter side of things, I think, after using both platforms.
Yeah, React Native was great when it came out, right? It's one of the easiest, but just keep the competitive edge up to make our life easier.
Yeah, I'm running into a bunch of issues because they're doing a bunch of refactoring and making improvements in certain places, and the React ecosystem is like, if you need to do something, you're going to go find a third-party library to do it. It's not built into React. React is like pretty much just a state handler, and then if you want anything extended upon that, you got to go find a third-party library. So all these third-party libraries are playing catch-up on all the differences that they're making as you go from React Native version to version. So it's in like kind of an unstable state right now, I think. So yeah, I get to deal with that on my personal thing just to be able to upload to like the Android App Store. So
that's good. So you can say that you work on 2 apps that have been published on the App Store.
Yeah. Yep.
A milestone, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, so the next thing that I worked on was the community asset collector. I was posed with the problem of we have certain bugs occasionally that on certain cameras, certain things aren't showing up in the UI correctly, and we need a way to keep a collection of test photos to like run through our web UI during development. This is mostly because of the EXIF standard just not being a standard at most points. So like there's 3 or 4 different ways to represent dimensions or rotation. They discussed that in another video, but
or even dates.
Yeah,
like 10 different way of showing dates.
Reset the number of days without a time zone bug or something like that. But we wanted a website that we could collect assets from the community, so photos from their cameras, because our community has a lot of different cameras, and we only have like, I think my phone's my only camera, and I'm sure some of the other team members have a single camera, but we want to tap into our community of photographers and say, hey, give us assets from your camera that are bursts, singles, panoramas, all the different types of photos, so we can build out a open source, or what would it be, like an open data set that the public can access as well, but it also benefits the Immich project. So I built a website that you can upload a bunch of photos, and you can say, hey, this one's from my Canon camera, this one's from my Nikon camera. It'll actually try to detect that from the EXIF data, which is pretty cool. This is a single, this is a panorama, this is a burst, and then when you upload it to us, it goes into our storage backend, and then we're working to make a public data set that all of these images go into, so the community can access it. we can access it for testing, and hopefully we can have better experience for showing metadata from the images inside of Immich.
Okay, that's very cool. And I think you have you got to work with Zach on this on the Terraform side, right? So you got to learn about those really fun things on the DevOps side. So that's good experience to be exposed.
I definitely not a Terraform pro by any means, but it was really good for the pair programming. He knew exactly where everything would need to be, whereas it probably would have taken me 2 or 3 days to figure out exactly what things to do where, because we were also adding a Cloudflare worker to this, which was the first time we've done that in that repository. So it was a lot of setting up infrastructure to do different things in that repo specifically.
So I think that's the value of knowledge transfer from a more experienced engineer to, like an engineer that just get into the field, right? You pair with a more experienced one, so you get the knowledge transfer really quickly to get up to speed. So the more...
It was good to know what each tool did in its specific purpose, and if I need to use it in the future, I can explore more and understand how to do the entire setup. But at least now I know exactly what TerraGrunt does versus Terraform, and the challenges with each and what each one should specifically do.
So overall, what is your experience with this summer about FUTO, about Immich, about the whole internship?
This summer is one of the most fun summers I've ever had. I love working on this, even if I wasn't doing this as a job or an internship. It's been super fun meeting you, Zach, and Jason, and working with the rest of the Immich team, Daniel, Boot, Mert. Missing anyone else? I think it's 7 of us, right? Ganka, yes. I did many late nights with Ganka on Discord calls at 2 a.m. my time and 9 a.m. his time or something like that. So a lot of fixing mobile bugs on our new beta timeline that I helped do a lot of feature parity updates and fixes for. But yeah, the really fun working with you guys. Like, didn't have any problems with trying to get a hold of you guys. Everyone was there every day. The Monday morning meetings were fun to catch up with everyone. But yeah, even meeting with the other interns in person, that was also a good thing, because I've never lived in Austin before, but it was cool because the rest of the interns are UT students, so they showed me the routes of all the downtown areas to go visit. So that was super fun to have a bunch of friends here to go explore with. So
yeah, that's great to hear. I hope in the future we can get more interns to get to work with the project. First is experience as like what it is to work in a software company, and secondly, I think this is more rare, is how to work on an open source project with many contributors, like a lot of discussion, a lot of interaction with the user, and I think it's a quite interesting experience to be really an intern.
I was really impressed with how much you guys interact with the community in addition to doing all the development stuff. I see you always popping in the subreddit or on Discord at odd hours. I'm like, wow, he's fully committed on this. I don't think I could handle the just the constant upkeep of like the incoming issues and sorting those and organizing. And obviously it's a team effort, but yeah, I was purely focused on just writing software. I had very little interaction with the community, but it's a very tall task, and you guys do it really well. So
yeah, I think we have a great team. Everyone has their strong suit, and they use it really well. So we're lucky to be able to band together. And then to work on Immich together. So yeah, cannot ask for a better team. So thank you for choosing us.
Yeah, this has been so much fun.
FUTO, and I hope in the future when we have more chance, you come back and to be with the team, continue working on the project.
Yeah, this has been awesome, and I've been super fortunate to contribute to such a large project as Immich and have an impact on users. So yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you very much.
Yep, good to have you.
Good to have you.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye.